Gun Brewery Scaramanga Extra Pale Ale.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Oh, it's so hot out there. I've just taken the dogs out. It's evening time now, and I thought I would just round the evening off with a can of this stuff. This is the Scaramanga Extra Pale Ale from the Gun Brewery, who are based in the Sussex Weald in the next county along. They're on the way to Hailsham and Eastbourne, you know, sort of down that way. They've been going since 2015, and they've got their own 140 acre farm. Fucking hell, can't speak tonight. And that's got a tradition of growing hops on that farm, but they've converted an old barn there into a brewery, and they're producing this stuff. Now, I think this was given to me at my wedding by, I think it was Mark. He's a subscriber on here. Mark, if you're watching, cheers for that, mate. Really appreciate that. And I hope you're getting through all them Stellas now, because I'm fucked if I was going to drink all that lot. But these look like quite an interesting brewery. They're, as I say, in the next county along, and I've seen this in some of the craft brew pubs around Maidstone and all that. Never tried it, so I thought I'd give it a go. It's gluten free. So that seems to be a trend now with a lot of these beers. They're gluten free, and of course that means that they've taken the enzyme out that causes the problems with people who've got gluten intolerance. And there's a certain measurement it needs to be under to classify itself as gluten free, and obviously this one does. Otherwise it can't advertise itself as a gluten free pale ale. I've burnt my hand, and I'm fucking holding this can on here because it's absolutely throbbing. And it's won two stars on the Great Taste Awards, whatever that means, whether that's good, whether it's bad. You know my view on awards.
Award! Award!
Yes,
award!
Father.
Award!
Yes,
Award!
Father.
Award!
Yes,
Award!
Father.
Award!
Yes,
Award!
Father.
There you are. Right!
Unless they're really prestigious, then I don't really care about them, to be honest. It's all about what the beer tastes to me. So let's stop gassing and let's investigate this beer. Right, 330ml can. It is 3.9%. It is a gluten-free extra pale ale. It's called Scaramanga. And what does it say on here? The refreshing extra pale session ale. This refreshing extra pale session ale pairs the palest of malts with Sussex spring water. Yeah, they've got their own well on that farm. Don't know whether it's an artesian well, but they've got their own well there that they purify the water. And what does it say? It pairs the palest of malts with Sussex spring water and an avalanche of American hops. The hops give a vibrant, zesty nose and refreshing citrus finish. Our symbol meant man with our lives here, but fear not, our beer won't force you to lift your hands any higher than your lips. Oh, that's what that means. I don't know what the fuck that means. A hobo was simply a migratory labourer to help cope with the uncertainties of life on the road. Hobos developed a secret system of symbols that they would chalk on walls to provide information and warnings to others. Oh yeah, you know, there was a fucking load of shit going around the other day not the other day, but over the last few years, that people were marking, like drug dealers and burglars were marking houses and fuck off. But yeah, I've heard of that before. They would do that. They would say if the people were friendly or dogs were welcome and stuff like that. But yeah, That's an interesting bit of history there. I didn't know that. Scaramanga. I should have looked up what that meant. Didn't they mention that in Bohemian Rhapsody? I don't fucking know. I don't care either. Let's get this beer open and tasted. Well, this is quite fizzy. But let's get it in a glass. Cool, I can smell that resinous pine from here. Wow, that is extra pale. It's fucking fizzy, I know that. Look at that. Look at the carbonation. Fucking hell. Look at that. The glass is dirty. I do apologise for that. That is my fault. But the bubbles are absolutely insane. Now that doesn't look really appetising. I tried the Corona. You know, Corona beer out of the can. What a mouthfeel was on that. It was really nice. Beer tasted like shit. There was absolutely no flavour on it. But the mouthfeel was really good. This. Look at the carbonation. That's fucking mental. I know I said I didn't give a shit, but Scaramanga was, of course, the James Bond villain that was played by Christopher Lee in one of the films. Can't remember which one. What are we getting on the nose out of this? Wow, it's just grapefruit and pine that's coming out of this. There's a little bit of, is that lime? Lime citrus? But it's mostly bitter grapefruit and a little touch of pine on it. It's like a typical American pale ale. The head has dissipated a fair bit. It's quite warm in here, so that's probably why this happens. But the carbonation, look at that. Let's get it down the hatch, see what's going on. Cheers. Well, first thing that hits me, orange. Didn't get that on the aroma. And it's actually quite pleasant. Carbonation is a bit aggressive. Them bubbles in there, they do translate into the mouthfeel. But this isn't bad. It's very light. I will give it that for a pale ale, which I'm assuming contains, yeah, it contains wheat and oats. The mouthfeel is, or the body on it is quite light. But you know what I like about this? It hasn't got that bitter pine and grapefruit aftertaste that you get with a lot of these pale ales. It's very, very smooth. I would say gentle on the palate. There's none of them harsh bitterness, none of the harsh bitterness you get from them American hops. It just slips down very nicely indeed, despite the aggressive carbonation on it. Relatively sweet. The flavours I'm getting, orange, grapefruit and pine. That really is. And a vague hint of malt on that, but not a lot. This is all about the hops, but it is super drinkable. And at 3.9%, of course, you can fucking gulp down loads of this. I don't know whether it's me, but I think free beer always tastes nicer, doesn't it? There is no hint of that orange flavour that's in here at all on the aroma. Little touch of mango on that too. But it's just very pleasant. I quite like this, and I was bracing myself for, you know, that big, bitter, resinous hops that you get, and they seem to be like, you know, the bitter, like Cascade and Simcoe hops and Magnum hops that you get, where they use them for bittering on here. But they haven't done that with this. This is very pleasant and it goes down very nicely indeed, I have to say. I'm assuming what they're trying to do was an American style pale ale. I'm assuming that's what they've tried to do on this, but I think what they've done is they've just come up with a very, very nice extra pale ale that's super drinkable. It just feels really light in the mouth. The carbonation has calmed down. Look at that now. That's super smooth now. There's the odd, I know there's fucking bubbles sticking to the glass, I do apologise for that, but the bubbles have calmed right down now, and that does translate into the mouthfeel, and it goes down super smooth. That is a valiant effort from Gun. I'm impressed with that. So what's the verdict on Gun Scaramanga Extra Pale Ale? Yeah, very nice indeed. I had visions of this being like a typical American pale ale, like Mosaic, Cascade and Magnum hops in there that are just going to give it like massive fruit and quite a bitter finish. Not at all. Goes down very nicely indeed. Super drinkable. And I have to say, when you sort of fear the worst for a beer and they come up and they do something like this, it is a very nice surprise indeed. I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10. I really like that. That is a good one. Now, if you're not a massive fan of them super big hoppy flavours, but you do like your sort of, I don't know, your lighter top fermented pale ales, the modern craft brew stuff, this is a really good option. And of course, if you've got a gluten intolerance, this is going to be even better. Really impressed with that. That's an 8.5 out of 10. That's my first one from Gun, and they're sort of, I wouldn't say they're local, but they're not a million miles away, put it that way. I'm going to keep my eye open for them, see if I can get any more, because that is not bad at all. 8.5 out of 10, recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.